Praise Jesus. The last days of COVID and Dr. Fauci are officially upon us. Why, he is the Brett Favre of public health. Yeah, I said it. And Will Smith has been on a social media roll lately. Is he ahead of schedule for world domination? And finally, a strong black woman told me there's an epidemic of social videos clowning strong black women. Perhaps that hot take is too strong. The Unmitigated Gall podcast starts now.
So what's this podcast about?
Somebody gotta keep it real, you know.
Reclaiming my time
by winning.
Keep my wife's name.
Catch me outside, how about that?
You're talking to
unabashed hater.
My style is impetuous.
King Kong ain't got.
You come in with some nice waves of the black school.
You're average looking at best.
I took offense to that.
Robert.
You ain't got the answer, Sway. I have you beat.
You now have the Unmitigated Gall.
Thank you for joining the Unmitigated Gall, the podcast for media junkies and insiders by media junkies and insiders. I am one half of this hosting duo, Eric Goldson, and with me, co-host / supervising producer / booker / social media guru, but nobody's associate producer.
Okay.
Hey, Valerie.
Hey, Eric. My favorite part of the show. Every week. I love it. How's it going?
Good. That little last part was from our conversation at work earlier.
Yes.
Trying to get you to multitask. You was like, nope.
Yeah, I'll multitask when I get multiple checks. How about that?
Oh. Tell them.
So what do we have for today?
I think we got a lot of good stuff. We're going to be
too.
talking about, Fauci retiring. We're going to be talking about Will Smith creeping his way back on, poking his way back on to social media. And we'll be talking about what you say, and you could be right, is a trend of black women being clowned. Yeah. A disturbing trend. Boy, if that is not a 2020 intro, a disturbing trend of black women being embarrassed on social media.
Yeah.
And then a great interview by you.
Yes.
One of your great friends.
Yes, my friend Carol Gant, supervising producer for Roland Martin show, sat down with me. So I got to do finally my very first interview. I was feeling like, okay, Eric's been sort of charting the path for us here. I need to step up my game, get some interviews in the can. So she's my very first one, and it was a great interview, and I'm excited about it.
I second that. It was a great interview.
Thank you.
I was smiling ear to ear as I was watching it. It was informative and entertaining. So you at home, stick around. You don't want to miss it. But before they get to all these good topics, Valerie, what do the people need to do?
They need to subscribe, Eric. We need people to subscribe, like, and follow. It's very simple. It's so easy. You can do it from your phone, from your laptop, from your tablet, your computer. You can do it from anywhere. Like, subscribe, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The Unmitigated Gall podcast. It's very simple.
Right. It's like, like 112 said, you can do it anywhere.
And then if you
subscribe,
you'll get reminders about our show, and you get to listen to us every week and hear our opinions about everything.
Speaking of which, transition.
It's going to be a matter of, several weeks to few months for sure. I was asked a hypothetical question. And hypothetical questions sometimes can get you into some difficulty. I plan to go out for nice walks and hikes over Memorial Day, and I'm going to do it with care, with a mask on.
Dr. Fauci, he's announced that he's officially retiring from government service today, but has his legacy been tainted by his response to COVID-19? I think so.
I think not.
What do you know? We disagree.
No. Shocker. Why do you think his legacy is tainted?
All right. Well, everyone, we live in a what have you done for me lately society.
Correct.
What have you done for me lately? At work, we always hear the lawyers say primacy and recency. But I was a child in the 80s when Fauci was leading the response to AIDS. And, he has since, led the response to the West Nile virus, bird flu, Ebola, all great. But none of that impacted the world in our lifetimes in the way that the COVID-19 pandemic has. And I am not blaming Fauci on not knowing all the answers. I'm not blaming Fauci for giving us the wrong answers. But what I am saying is the waffling, the being on both sides of the fence, going on every television show he was allowed to be on and saying, this is crazy, this is going to kill you, stay in your homes, mask up, don't send your kids to school. And then going in front of the president and speaking on behalf of the president and telling people it's okay. Like, he literally said, go out and enjoy your Memorial Day weekend in 2020. And, and it was a lot of that. It was a lot of, I'm next to Sanjay Gupta, so I'm going to say one thing now. And then when he's in front of the Trump administration, he's saying what they wanted him to say. You know what? He would have been a hero if he would have just stuck to one message. And if they fired him or if they pushed him out, then he could have said, you know what? I'm sorry. I just couldn't lie to y'all. I had to tell you the truth. But he didn't do that. And that's my problem with Fauci. And that's why his legacy is tainted, because he ended up looking like a coward.
Oh, well, damn. A coward. Wow. Those are strong words, Eric. You don't think that you should maybe give him a little bit of grace? The last time this had happened was 100 years prior. No one had any experience with any type of major virus like this one. And it was something that was changing constantly. So his messaging was changing constantly.
Not the same day, Chevalery. And remember what I just said. I said, look, I'm not mad at him for not knowing the answers. I'm not mad at him for not understanding an evolving virus. It's the messaging, saying two different things. Like, he would literally be on CNN New Day saying, I don't think you should send your kids to school. We don't know how dangerous this could be. People's lives are at risk. This is an unprecedented pandemic. And then, that evening, would be up there with the president and saying, folks, this looks like it's not that bad. Things are turning around quickly. You could be back outside in a month. It's the messaging, and that's what's cowardly. No one knew what the COVID-19 virus was doing or could have predicted what it was going to do. So, everybody ended up being right because everybody was wrong. But what I'm saying is pick a side. Either you're going to be hyper cautious or you're going to be bold and on the side of the president. And I just didn't like that flip-flopping.
I guess because we've been in this for 2.5 years, I don't quite remember everything as vividly as you do. I don't remember him saying one thing one day and then saying something completely different the exact same day. I think that when I was looking at him, looking at all of the reports of the deaths and everything that's going on, all the different symptoms, everything that was going on with COVID, it seemed to be something that was ever changing, constantly evolving. And so did their messaging. I think that by listening to him, there were millions of people who lost their lives, but there were probably millions of people saved too, because he said, wear a mask, social distance, do all these things. They shut the world down basically for two weeks. I think we need to give Fauci a little bit of grace. This is somebody who has dedicated his life. He's 81 years old now, but he started at the National Institute of Health when he was 27. He's 81. He's dedicated his life, and you listed a ton of things that he's helped with: HIV, AIDS, Ebola. Now he's doing COVID, monkeypox, all these things. I'm gonna always sort of lean on the side of and follow the science, and not people who just, like the Trump administration, or, some of these, Joe Rogan, some of these people who, let's pour bleach in our system, put some ultraviolet light. Like, I'm going to go with the person who went to school, studied the science, and I'm going to believe what they say.
That's hyperbole, because like you just said, we're supposed to give Fauci grace because he didn't know what was happening, essentially. So,
and you said it earlier, nobody knew.
Exactly. So slamming Joe Rogan for wanting to try these supplements. Now, of course, Trump saying pour bleach down your throat.
Bleach.
That's asinine, right?
Ultraviolet light.
So I don't think it's fair to say Joe Rogan and Trump gave you the same advice, because, one is controversial medicine. The other one is a household cleaner. So, but I think, all right, why don't we talk about where the CDC stands today? Would you care to lay out those guidelines for us?
Absolutely. So the CDC is relaxing their guidelines. So number one, you no longer have to quarantine if you're exposed to the virus. And then number two, there's no need to social distance. And the reason is because roughly 95% of people 16 or older have some type of immunity, some level of immunity to COVID-19. Basically meaning either you got COVID, and either you had some issues or you were asymptomatic. But basically pretty much everyone now has some type of immunity to the virus. And this applies to everyone.
Shout out to my colleagues and former colleagues who got laid off because they didn't get the vaccine or didn't get it in time. Yeah. So shout out to all the people that lost their jobs because of the pandemic. And for what? We still all got it anyway. So,
I mean, it's not funny. I know someone who had worked at a career for almost 20 years, worked at the same place, and she refused to get the vaccine, and they let her go. And now look, you don't have to wear masks. You don't have to.
Biden got it. His wife got it. Biden got it
twice.
5 times that we know of. Right. His dog got it. I mean, but these people lost their jobs. So my point is that, Fauci is like the Brett Favre of public health, because Brett Favre had this amazing career with these amazing accomplishments, did amazing things in his career, in his field, on the field, but just stayed around a little too long to where the benefits of having Brett Favre on your team were greatly outweighed by the pain in the ass factor. And, really, that's why I think it's definitely time for Fauci to go. Sir, I salute you, but I also bid you adieu.
Well, I salute him as well, and I'll say thank you for everything you've done for all of us.
Our sisters brunching without masks now? I need to check in. Cause hey, college educated black women, boy, y'all would go everywhere with a mask on, except when it was time to brunch. Oh, when it's time to brunch, it's mimosa time. Really? The mask coming off.
You gonna call us out like that, Eric?
Well,
like I say, maybe if y'all had listened to black women, and we wouldn't be where we are.
Facts.
I've been saying that on this podcast a lot. Listen to black women.
No, we just need to do it at some point, right?
At some point, the world will be better.
Speaking of someone who listened possibly to the wrong black woman, Will Smith.
What the whole hell? That is a big ass spider.
That's a tarantula.
And I'm up on the chair.
He's back on social media. Are we happy about this?
I can remember when Will Smith joined Instagram, and I remember putting something on like Facebook and saying like, oh, if you're not following Will Smith like on Instagram, you need to. Like, his content was amazing. Am I happy Will Smith's back? I guess. Did I miss it? I can't say that I missed it either. I still feel like just go away for a while. It hasn't even been 6 months.
Right. And I feel like no one really misses Will Smith because we haven't had time to.
Yeah.
But I can't say that I'm surprised that he's back, because knowing, especially after reading his book and just we've lived through the Will Smith journey. So not at all surprised knowing this man's work ethic and determination and the fact that he's a people pleaser. There's no way that he's going to end his career as a guy. He's not going to go out on an L. You know,
Right.
He's got to go out. And, you know, Will Smith, everything about his career is like historic milestones. The most weeks at this, the biggest box office that did that.
Right.
You know, so he just won an Oscar. So you got to know that I think at this point he's going to put on his blinders again. And I don't know what's going on with Jada. I don't know what's going on with his family. But he's got to be so hungry for redemption. I doubt anything else matters at this point.
Yeah, you know, the last time we talked about Will Smith, I was in Vegas and having some technical difficulties, so I didn't really get to say everything that I wanted to say. But I feel like maybe he's feeling maybe a little isolated. You see that, like, I can remember when that whole incident happened and a lot of people were sort of on his side. Oh, if someone had said something like that to my wife, I would have done the same thing, blah, blah, blah. But then there seemed to have been a shift, and you see Chappelle and Chris Rock and Kevin Hart, you know, doing these specials together, and there seems to be more support for Chris Rock than Will Smith. And so I feel like, I feel a little sorry for him, because it seems like, you know, he doesn't have anyone, you know, any of his friends or any, you know, anyone in his corner. And I feel bad for him because it seems like he's isolated and by himself, despite being one of the most famous people in the world.
And you might be right. I mean, I felt like the shift to support for Chris Rock was more immediate than maybe what you saw. Maybe our news feeds and people we follow are different.
Right.
But I will say that I think at this point, Will Smith is going to be like, okay, I've acknowledged that I'm sorry. I put out the invitation to Chris Rock. I've apologized to my fans. I think at this point, we're going to see Will Smith get into his comfort zone, which is hard work and focus.
Yeah.
And so whether or not people forgive him or not, I know what's going to happen is he's going to have some type of career success going forward, because that's just what he does. He doesn't care if it's good quality movies. He doesn't care if it's like widely loved movies. But I tell you what they are. They will be financially successful, because Will Smith is like the Drake of movies and television. It ain't got to be quality. It ain't got to be life-changing, but it will be successful.
So you think that Hollywood will forgive Will Smith? He's basically one of those people who, whether you forgive him or not, like him or not, if he puts out some project, you're either going to go to it because you like him, or you're going to go to it to hate watch it, basically.
Right. I
They're going to
think
make
what's
money
important,
either way.
and that's the point. That's what Hollywood cares about.
Yep.
Hollywood loves a redemption story, but you know what they really love? Something that's profitable.
Right.
That's what Ice Cube has been able to do for so many years. It's what Will Packer does well. These guys make movies on small budgets and they turn a profit. That's what Tyler Perry does. That's why Hollywood respects him now, because it's about making money. And that's one thing Will Smith will always do. His movies, you know, I can't think of a movie. I bet the Wild Wild West made money. I mean, it was terrible, but but I don't even remember. I remember it was something about a robot and Wild West and an evil white guy with a goatee. That's the only thing I really remember. But I bet it made buku bucks, and that's what he does. So, you know, I think he's basically just like, all right, let's get this out the way. Let's get this social media apology out the way, and now the plan is moving forward. I just wonder when the next blockbuster movie, Will Smith blockbuster, is going to hit. That's what we should put money on.
Oh, I think aren't they making like a Bad Boys 4 or something, which I will absolutely
Oh
see.
God. You will?
I mean, I love the first two. I don't know that I necessarily loved the third one, except for who ended up being at the, I don't know if you saw the third one? Of course
No.
you did. Oh, you didn't see the third one?
No.
Oh, I almost ruined it for you. Just watch the
No,
first,
please say what you
couple-
got to say, because I'm not going to watch it.
Just watch the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I promise you'll laugh, because you have to see who shows up at the very beginning. Just watch the first 15 minutes, and we'll talk about it next week.
No, it's okay. You can spoil it if you want.
I'm not going to
I
spoil
don't know.
it.
Martin Lawrence is a shell of himself at this point, so
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
at this point, he's just that comedian that goes, "Oh damn," you know, and that's just like, wow, Martin, you know, why that used to be like a little seasoning on his comedy. Now it's like the entree. So
Well, we'll
The
see what
oh
happens.
damn.
You know, Will Smith put out that apology video, which no one saw coming, and then he put out this little poke video. And now I've already seen he posted a video the other day with his son, and there was some tarantula wherever they were, and
Which is good, right? I mean, it was like a good
sure.
can't miss video. It's like, wow, this fool has a tarantula in his house. He's with his son. It's like, how could you? And I looked through the comments, and they were overwhelmingly positive. Like,
I did the same
glad
thing.
you're back. So I don't know. I just think at this point. All right. Last thing I'll say about this. I'm saying in 9 months, Will Smith will have some type of splashy, successful TV or movie thing. When is your prediction that Will Smith's next big Hollywood splash happens? Over or under 9 months?
Honestly, I think the next. Well, I think it'll happen. I'll say in a year.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, because the biggest thing that they could do would be if they sat down with Oprah and did some type of interview. The two of them.
I don't think Chris Rock's into it, but
I know,
Chris
I
Rock
know.
does like Oprah. They're friends, so that's
I'm just
possible.
wondering, like, who could be the mediator to get the two of them together. I would love to. I think if they did that, that would be bigger than anything.
I know, but I think it's deeper than that for Chris Rock at this point. Will Smith would totally be up to that because he's like Hollywood first, but Chris Rock was the one that was emasculated. So
Yeah,
his
and that's
family
what-
and friends. So I don't think he's looking for an Oprah moment. He's either thinking, I don't ever care to really talk to this guy again, or if we do, it needs to be in private.
Yeah, I heard someone say, you know, regardless of whatever happens between them, like that video clip will live on forever of Chris Rock being degraded the way he was on national television. So I think you may be right.
Like imagine
Yeah,
this:
I
when
couldn't.
Chris Rock dies,
Yeah,
we're gonna be running.
that video.
You know, we're gonna be running packages on this guy, and the slap has to be in that package.
Yep. Yeah.
For just on that alone, like Will Smith, you ruin my epilogue. Like I gotta we can't be friends, man.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, like, do you, pun intended, if you're Chris Rock, turn the other cheek and forgive Will Smith and let bygones be bygones, or you just keep doing what you're doing?
I mean, no, I can't. I think he's doing the right thing by moving on and working and not like, harping on it. And, I think it's great that he's not doing like an Oprah sit down, but I don't know how you can like forgive that. I mean,
Yeah.
even though it was a mistake, it's going to live forever. Like some things, there's certain things that I've done to people throughout my life, and I don't expect them to forgive me. But I just like, you know what? That's not something I can take back. I just got to keep moving on and grow it as a person. But that doesn't mean Timmy from 7 years ago is going to forgive me.
Right.
I just got to keep doing me and take what I did as a learning lesson, because that person might not forgive me. So I just think it is what it is.
Yeah. I don't think this story is over. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Now, speaking of unforgivable, I'm gonna have to let you lead this one, because this is your theory, this is your premise. You believe there is a trend. Oh, and before we get into it, speaking of black women, we got a great interview with a strong black woman, an amazing, charismatic producer who's seen a lot in journalism and is doing a lot. So stick around for that. But Chevalerie led this all the way. But speaking of leading, Chevalerie, your theory about the trend to embarrass black women on social media.
I'm being a whole gentleman. I've been a whole gentleman. Have you not? Have I not been a gentleman to you, though? Have I not done anything? But you should have knew what it was if I flew you out here, though.
I don't want.
Why come out here then?
Yeah, so it just so happened this weekend, as everyone probably does, you're scrolling social media, Instagram, whatever, and I started to notice a bunch of different videos from different people involved in different parts of the country, but they all had the same theme, and it was to me, it was videotaping and recording a Black woman in a moment, likely to go viral, but that would ultimately be an embarrassment to her. And I didn't realize it until what ends up happening is I save a bunch of things for us, and I'm like, I'll send them to you, and I'm like, oh, what do you think of this topic? What do you think of this topic? Like, oh, let's do this story. And then I noticed, I'm like, wait a minute, like I've got a video of a girl who got flued out, and the guy is recording her because she won't have sex with him. And then there was a second video, and it was a girl who they had paid her to come and be a stripper at like a music video shoot, and they were throwing fake money, but she didn't realize it was fake money, and they were recording her as she's picking up the money. And then the third video is this guy who pushes this girl in the water, and looks like, I don't know if she was able to swim or whatever. And I just looked at all those, and I was like, oh my God, like there seems to be, and this isn't like new, there have been lots of videos of guys taking girls out to dinner and then realizing, okay, I don't get to sleep with her, so I'm gonna make her walk home. But the problem that I have with these videos is that they record the women and with the intent to embarrass them. And so when I saw that I had 3 of them saved, I was like, wait a minute, like this all happened in a weekend, 3 separate incidents, 3 separate videos, and it just seems to be like a new way to disrespect Black women. And so I sent them to you. You said it would make a good topic, and so here we are.
There's a couple problems I have with this theory. Mm-hmm. Could this be because I saw them before you sent them to me, and I also know where those videos came from. Could this be you're a product of your social media timeline? Because a lot of these came from sites that basically make their money on lowbrow hip hop audience social media videos. So places like the Shade Room, No Jumper, DJ Academics, the Breakfast Club. These are social media channels that thrive on this type of content. World Star. So I mean, I don't think it's really a trend of embarrassing Black women, but if they're sharing videos of that are just buzzworthy and viral videos, and it's catering to a Black audience, more than likely it's going to be, Black women in those videos. I mean, just today I saw Blueface, the rapper Blueface, getting punched in the face by his toxic girlfriend. They're both toxic. So, but you just got to realize, all right, this is this ecosystem. Like that whole ecosystem that puts out Blueface videos, that puts out videos of Lil Pump and stuff like that. They're thriving on this type of content. So it doesn't bother me. I can't really see it as a trend because it's just who they're catering to. So, I mean, it's not Black on Black crime because Black people are living in neighborhoods.
I mean, it could be part of the algorithm that I'm caught up in. It could be the sites that I follow. Although, ding. Of all the ones you just named, I only follow the Shade Room. I had never, except for World Star, I've never even heard of the other ones.
They're all the same.
I guess for me, I don't see any of these, and I'm sure that they are out there. I don't see the level of disrespect in these instances when it comes to women of another race. And I had to look it up and write it down. I'm going to quote my brother Malcolm X, because he said it, and it's true to me. The most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman. And these videos are proof of that to me. I don't see white women being degraded and demeaned in the way that these videos show these Black women. And you and I were discussing this a little bit at work, and you can get into more of the nuances of the videos, but like, I don't have to sleep with you if you flew me out. And there's just a level of disrespect. There constantly seems to be Black men who are not supporting us the way that we support Black men. I'll just say it.
Why are you grouping yourself, an intelligent, classy woman, who's educated and focused on supporting herself with these trashy women. Like, why?
No.
Just because you're a black
why
woman?
Why are you assuming that these women aren't that? Because she got flued out.
I'm going off context clues. Context clues.
But you're assuming that these women aren't that just because one is a stripper. That doesn't mean she's not educated. Because the girl got flued out, that doesn't mean she's not educated. And we for sure don't know about the girl who got just pushed in the water. Like,
that one was dirty. I was like, now that if you haven't seen it, this is a dude who apparently pushed a woman he was seeing, dating. I don't know their level of relationship, but they were involved, and he pushed her into this water, and she seemed really traumatized. I don't know what the benefit was of that. He was kind of laughing and justifying it, but
Eric,
that one was bad.
He pushed this woman in the water, and then the next thing he thinks to do is to record it.
Right. Now, is that a symptom of him being a black man and a black woman, or is this a social media symptom?
To be honest with you, Eric, I don't know what it is. I just know that I see other black women. I see black women in those videos, and I only see black women in those videos. And so for me, it's disturbing and it's a problem. I don't want to say it's like a trend. I for sure don't want this to become popular. I just don't understand the level of disrespect that you have for a woman, that you would record her in a moment, like that, where you've pushed her in the water, where you've hired her for a service, but then you're paying her with fake money and you're recording her.
I think that was a video shoot. I think that was a video. Right. Yeah, she didn't realize, which also underscores the fact that she's not like you. She's not intelligent. But I agree with you and Brother Malcolm, your assertion that the black woman is the most disrespected person on earth. I agree with that, but I don't think that is that belongs in this argument, because I do think, at your own admission, you don't follow a lot of like popular white bloggers and people. So I think what you're witnessing is more a product of your social media feeds. I'm sorry. I think that's what it is.
But even
in this
if that's
case,
true, I don't like it. And that's not to say that I wouldn't like it if it was a white woman or a Hispanic woman. I don't like to see women disrespected like that. But I for sure don't like to see a black woman. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you.
But are you listening to me, Eric?
People. I don't know. I don't know what you can do about that. I think,
here's the thing. Whenever there is an instance, and 9 times out of 10, normally when there's any type of instance where there's some type of police brutality or something happens, it is a black man being brutalized at the hands of police. And without fail, without hesitation, black women will support that cause, that person, regardless, no matter what. And I want black men to do the exact same thing. I want them to support us the way we support them when they're in need. That's what I'm saying. And I don't see that same level of respect. I just don't.
So tough, because it's personal. Well, it's just like, you're so passionate, you're speaking from the heart. And I understand that, it's like racism, it's like sexism, like you've experienced these things. So you don't know if at this moment when you are being disrespected, if it's because of your race and your gender.
Right.
Or you don't know if you are being disrespected at all because of your race or your gender. Maybe you are, maybe it's misinterpreting, but it's because of these microaggressions and these traumas that you feel this way. So I don't want to say this is how you should feel. Mm-hmm. But I think it's dangerous to kind of group these things together, like black women not being supported by black men enough, to trashy people on social media trying to go viral. I want us to save our outrage for something better. Like, I don't want to conflate these videos, these clout chasers, with police killing black men in the streets. I don't want that connection to be made. I don't think it's valid, and I don't think it holds enough water for me to include my rage for this topic to this topic. So if you feel that way, I can't tell you how to feel. I mean, that's your feelings.
I'm just saying, I don't, and I think a lot of black women would agree with me. I don't feel the same level of respect for us as we have for Black men sometimes.
Whew, tough stuff. Whew, let me get a little sip of water.
Okay.
Now I think it's safe to say this next woman that you talked to is someone who's very much worthy of respect, and I learned a lot during this interview. So why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so our audacious interview today is with Carol Gant. She's a supervising producer for Roland Martin, and that we talk about for everything, her career, dealing with loss, dealing with microaggressions, and being sort of stifled in our careers, in the workplace. We talk about everything, and we have a really good rapid fire at the end. So,
Byron Allen purchased Black News Channel for $11 million out of bankruptcy, and people were elated. They were like, "Oh my God, he's saving Black News Channel." No, he's not.
All right, so this is the portion of our podcast where we interview someone who is a big media insider, someone who is doing really good things, amazing things in the media industry. We call this our audacious interview, and I'm very, very excited because this is my very first interview, and I called on a very close friend of mine. For those of you who watch the show, Eric always does these like amazing intros. So I tried to do one today. So my guest today has a very long and successful career in journalism. She's the former president of AABJ, the queen of the crawfish broil, only one of two people who can check Roland Martin, and Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, Ralph, and Johnny's #1 fan, and the only person who can say they've ever been my roommate. Please welcome Carol Gant.
Hello. Wait, who's the other person that can check Roland? I want to know who that is.
His wife.
Oh, okay. You're right. I was like, who else? I thought you meant in the professional world.
Oh, no. I meant there's probably only two people, and you, my friend, are one of them. I think you're the only other person outside of his wife who could do it. I can't think of anyone else at CNN who could do it. You're literally the only person. How are you?
I'm good. So first, let me say this. Okay. Because we're media folks.
Yes.
All opinions that come out of my mouth are no reflection on Roland Martin.
Okay. Let's get that.
That is my disclaimer.
Get that disclaimer out of the way. I love it.
Get that out of the way. So I don't want to know what she said. That's what Carol said. That's what Nathan and Jeannie Gant's daughter said.
Ooh, okay.
That's what Leon and Clarissa's sister said.
Okay.
So let's get that clear.
I love it.
Put it out there. We're not blaming nothing on my employer because I still want my job.
Okay.
So
we still need those checks.
We still need those checks.
I want to start with, as I said in your intro, you've had a very long and successful career in journalism. So my first question is, why journalism? Why did you pick that as a profession?
I did not pick it. It picked me.
Okay.
I did not. I went to school all of my life. I was going to be an attorney.
Sorry, I was going to say all my life I had to fight.
All my life I had to fight. Well, yeah, that too. But no, it was, I was a Perry Mason freak at a young age. Murder, She Wrote.
LA Angela Law. Lansbury.
Yes. Law and Order. So I was a huge crime nut. Still am. Mm-hmm. Went to school for pre-law. Studied pre-law for a year and a half until I took that first constitutional law class that didn't. I was like, this ain't for me. But, it's still what I wanted to do. Then I ended up meeting this young lady who started telling me about this organization called NABJ that I've never heard about. And she wanted to start a chapter on campus. And all she needed was names on the Constitution to start it.
Okay.
So she used my name, cool. But she was also the weekend producer at one of the local stations. She was like, hey, we have this internship. I'm a sophomore. Do you want it? I'm like, I'm not doing TV. But I was bored. It didn't pay. So I was like, let me just figure it out. So I did that for maybe 3 months when I realized, this is kind of cool.
Two things that you said I thought were really interesting. The first one, you said it was unpaid. These kids today have no idea. These internships, paid internships. I'm like, what is that? What is that life like?
I had to convince my parents to let me stay during the Christmas break, to work at the mall during the seasonal time, to pay for me to stay for this internship. So I had to get a job.
Right.
And luckily, I had a friend who had an apartment. He had a townhouse. Allowed me to sleep on his sofa for free. I would catch the bus to the mall to go to work, and then catch the bus to the TV station, all because I had to prove something. My dad was like, "Nope, you're not doing it. I'm not." He had an extra car, wouldn't give me the extra car.
Right.
So I figured out a way how to make it work, and it worked. No, these children have no clue.
No clue.
What it's like to have to get a job,
to work for free,
to get an internship.
Exactly.
No clue.
The second thing that you said was interesting was I did not know that you were pre-law prior to getting into journalism, but you go on later and sort of fulfill that dream a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I worked when I got to CNN. That was my dream job. Let's just stop there. Getting at CNN was a dream job. So I get to CNN, and then I was bored. And then I know where you're going, but I'll get to that. I was bored after getting off the overnight shifts. So I went ahead and got my paralegal degree. So I have an associate's degree in paralegal studies. And then I think like a year or two later, Court TV was acquired by CNN, and it was on HLN. Then I ended up getting a job as one of the trial researchers who researched all the trials there. And that's kind of where my two lives collided, where I was able to use my legal brain, which I always had, with television. So that was a great job until they decided to disband the unit.
Yeah.
Sapsuckers.
Okay. I started this off by saying we call this our audacious interview, and I actually looked it up, and it says showing a willingness to take surprisingly bold risk. And that to me perfectly describes you and where you are in your career right now. Can you tell us a little bit about the bold move that you recently made that no one saw coming, probably not even you?
Hell no, I didn't see that. Can I say that? Can I say hell no?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
You can cuss, it's fine.
Shit, this was not my plan at all. It was because, like I said, CNN was my job, right? That was where I've always wanted to be. That was my goal at 19. I was like, I'm moving to Atlanta. I don't know what the hell for, but I'm moving to Atlanta. Ended up going all the way around the state of Georgia, in Columbus to Augusta before I got to Atlanta. And I was like, I'm not leaving. Set up root, bought a house. It was great, right? Then CNN was not moving me the way I wanted to be moved. Yeah. So I left there to take a management job that was probably the worst mistake I ever made, but also ended up being the best thing that I ever did.
Yeah.
You'll ask me about that later. We'll go into that. So with that part of it, there's some things that happened. That job did not work out. I got fired from that job a week before the pandemic. A week before the pandemic is where I got fired. So 2020 produced the pandemic, produced me losing the love of my life, produced me like, where in the hell do I go from here? Right? So in 2021, this is real funny. An ex came to me and he was like, we hadn't talked in a while. He was like, hey, I had this dream. I was like, what? And I was like, please don't tell me you dream about us getting back together, because that's not happening. But that wasn't the dream. He's like, I had this dream that you were running Roland Martin's Atlanta office. This was in January.
Wow.
And I was like, you done lost your damn mind. First of all, no. Secondly, he doesn't even have an office in Atlanta. So I know that's bullshit. So that's not going to happen. Left it alone. I'm still looking for a job. No one's really hiring. I ended up freelancing for Georgia Public Television for a while, which was great money. It was good. I worked like 4 hours and made great money. So that was good. Then I was like, okay, Lord, this savings is running out and my mortgage is coming every month. So in March, I got a call from an NABJ buddy, and she was like, hey, Dr. Brooks, who I know from working with student projects with NABJ, was like, she wants you to call her. I'm like, for what? Like, she know my number. Like, what's going on? Roland needs a producer. And I just started laughing. And she was like, what's so funny? I was like, girl, hell no. Yo, no. Not happening. One, the job wasn't in Atlanta. I wasn't trying to move. And two, no. Just like not doing that.
Yeah.
So she was like, call her anyway. So I called Dr. Brooks. She was like, send him your resume. I was like, Dr. Brooks, listen. I just left a bad situation. I am not moving for some foolishness.
Yeah.
She's like, no. I'm telling you, y'all work great together. He needs you. You need to get out of Atlanta. Like, it was this whole thing. And I was like, lady, you lost your mind. But because I respect you, I'm going to follow through with it.
Okay.
So I sent him my resume. Not even an hour later, he's like, let's have a meeting on Friday. We talked. It was at that point that my perspective of him changed because, I didn't know him.
Mm-hmm.
I just, saw him around or whatever. Perspective of him changed and I understood his vision. And I was like, you know what? I don't know, but what do I have to lose? I didn't have a job. Why not? And he was like, let me fly you up for 2 weeks and try it out. All right, cool. So I come up to DC, try it out. And I was like, I could do this because I understood what he needed. I had the skills to do what was needed.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Right? What really could I lose? Right? He is a Black man who started his own network, Real Talk.
Mm-hmm.
It is and I'm helping him build I'm helping him build that. Like, who doesn't want to be on the ground floor of something that no one else has done? When pretty much no one else has done. And it's great. And why not? So that's how that happened. It was literally pretty much handed to me. And then when I told certain people, because a lot of people didn't know what I did or what I was doing until like a year later. So when I told some people, they was like, for real? I was like, yeah, let's see how it goes. So that's how I ended up working for Roland.
Okay.
And I will say it was the absolute best thing I could have done at the time.
So there was a blessing in that setback with
there was. And I didn't realize I needed to leave Atlanta until after I left.
Yeah. I will say I don't think that you were handed that job. I think you earned and deserved that job. It was something that wasn't like those kind of opportunities weren't available to us where we previously worked. We were sort of all stifled in our careers, and so I don't think it was handed to you. I think someone recognized what others weren't able
you're right.
to.
But what I'm saying is I didn't have to go through, there wasn't like this long interview process.
Right.
There wasn't this, other candidates. To my knowledge, it was literally, I got somebody for you. You better hire her and take care of her in here. So that's when I say hand it to, and I will say that is the first job that I ever got from my NABJ connections. Because, people talk about how they get their jobs through NABJ and how that truly was an NABJ connection.
Okay.
And how I got that and how I got to where I am right now. So when I say handed it to me, I literally mean it was like, oh, here you go, right here.
Yeah.
And the way everything else just worked itself out. There's certain opportunities that you cannot afford to pass up when everything is pretty much handed and worked out, no kinks, no nothing.
Right.
And this is one of those.
So you are the supervising producer for Roland Martin. Can you talk a little bit about like what that means, what that title all it entails?
The title means absolutely nothing.
Okay.
It means nothing. And I say that
it's a pretty big title. Like
it is a pretty big title, but what I'm saying as far as what the job duties are
oh, I already know.
Right. So let's just say everything. This. Let's go back. Right. Correct. So we're at CNN, right? Supervising producer at CNN does nothing. They supervise.
Right.
They have the producer, they have the editors, they have all that kind of stuff,
executive
and
producers.
They do all that. That's not my life, right? Right now, it feels like I'm back in local news because we're so small.
Mm-hmm.
So I do edit, I do write, I do book guests. Friday, I had somebody out. I'm line producing with the guest host and also doing video playback at the same time. So it's a lot. There were some missteps because there was like there's some other issues I'm trying to take, and I may have hit a commercial late, but it is what it is. So I'm saying all that to say that there is not much I don't do. I order supplies, I stack supplies, I buy supplies, I open the mail, I mail stuff off, I help with scheduling, I help with writing, I train interns. I try to learn other aspects of stuff. Like the graphics and I don't get along, so I'm gonna stop that foolishness, right? So there is. I'll say this: there is not much that I don't do when it comes to putting the show together. So what that title is that it is truly my job to make sure that on a daily basis, everybody is doing what they're supposed to do, or at least trying to. I help remove roadblocks of those who can't do what they're supposed to do, or at least try to. And most of my staff is under the age of 30.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
Which means they could truly be my kids.
Right.
Like, for real. One little girl was like, "You've been doing this longer than I've been alive. Girl, get out of my office."
Exactly.
And she was telling the truth. She was born in 97. I started in 96.
Right.
Like, get out. We're not having this conversation right now, right? So it's truly it could be a counselor, a mom, a big sister. It could be, I'm about to come in here, you about to get cussed out because you did something stupid. So everything encompassing in that, I'm also the manager. So there are disciplinary issues that I have to deal with. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. The title means nothing for the most part, other than I'm pretty much in charge when Roland's not there.
Okay. So you're the HBIC.
Yeah. Because I'm that person. I'm also, I feel like I'm the wingman for Roland sometimes. Because we're out and he's like, "Go talk to my producer, Carol." And I was like, then people I don't know, "Are you Carol?" I'd be like, "No." And I'm like, what did Roland tell you to come tell me? Right. And their look on their face like, first of all, you know I am because he pointed me out to you. Secondly, I know why you're calling me because you said my name. Because you know us producers like to be in the background. We don't want nobody to know who we are.
Exactly. That's
standing
why
in the back,
behind the scenes.
behind the scenes, and you're calling my name. I'm like, okay, what now? So I'm his wingman. Like, I don't have time to talk to you. Go talk to her. Like, Roland, like, I got time to talk to these people.
Right.
But okay. No problem. We'll make it work.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about working with someone. I feel like you and Roland maybe you get along so well because you both have similar personalities. You're both extremely strong. But talk a little bit about working with someone with such a strong personality, but also maybe sometimes a little polarizing. You know, Roland says things, and sometimes when he says things, they become trending topics. People start talking about it. Most recently, he was saying something about Byron Allen and his purchase of the Griot. Like, talk about what it's like to work with someone with such a strong personality, and also maybe like, do you feel like you have to defend him, or do you deflect, or like, what do you do?
Roland go Roland, right? That's my thing. I'm like, Roland go Roland. I don't have to defend him. Roland defends himself.
Okay.
Right. That's not my job to defend him. Roland has his own opinions, and most of the time, Roland is kind of right. Right. If you really listen to what he's saying and kind of take the shock out of it, what he says makes sense. You may not agree with it, but it makes sense from the perspective in which he's presenting it. So no, I don't defend, nor do I deflect, because I'm like, well, you know, that's his opinion. And growing up, and I'll say growing up in the news business as well, we have kind of been trained not to have an opinion about things. So I am very careful with who I have those conversations with.
Right.
So I'm not out willy-nilly on social media saying anything, because I'm like, that's not what I use social media for anyway, for one. So yeah, deflecting. Yeah, I don't defend that man. That's his thing. It's how he feels, what he says. That's fine. And it's funny because a lot of times we agree on a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of thing. So how do I do? I grew up with a man like that.
Okay.
My father was like that. So, and I remember growing up, my dad's like, if you can't take this in the house, you're not going to survive outside. So my dad would say stuff to me, and I'm like, if I didn't have high self-esteem, that would hurt my feelings, right? So especially my father, his actions, telling the coach to take me out of the basketball team off the floor because I'm sucking in the game. My father yelling at the basketball game. Here, my father had one volume, loud. Right? I was like 13. I was like, okay, he does like me. He just loud. Okay, get it. So growing up in that kind of environment, and I told Roland, I was like, dude, you remind me of my daddy. I ain't worried about you. You know, because it doesn't bother me because I know his intent, right? I know what the mission is, and I know it's not personal. So how do I work with that? I had 39 years of training
before you got to rolling.
Before I got there. And my mom was like, she says, I was worried about that. She said, because you and him, and I know how you are. I was like, look, the Lord knew what he was doing when he put this together. I said, because this didn't come together haphazardly.
What's next for Black Star Network? Like, is there any kind of inside scoop you can give us?
So it's not an inside scoop because he's been saying it for the longest.
Okay.
So there's no inside scoop.
Okay.
So I'm not giving any secrets or whatever. Okay. Really, truthfully, he's in the process of working out launching a 24-hour network.
Yep.
So what that looks like, so let me tell you. So there's a lot of stuff that I found out after the fact, and I just got to play catch up.
Okay.
So luckily, the 24-hour network was something he's always been talking about. So right now there are other shows in the works. I think he's working on, I say he because that ain't my ministry, ain't my business. I stay in my lane. Mm-hmm. We're working on another daily show. I don't know nothing about it other than it's a daily show. I know he's working on several other either acquired or weekly shows.
Okay.
And some of those acquired shows are pretty much shows that someone else produces, and we're just being used as a distribution platform.
Okay.
Right. So that's kind of where we are right now, that I know of. But again, stuff just pops up sometime. I'm like, what is this? Okay, let me figure out where I fit into all of this.
Yeah.
But right now, that's the biggest thing that I know that Black Star Network is working on, is to be a 24-hour network.
Okay.
Which is to keep all the money in house, because right now, on YouTube, they get a portion of the monetary stuff that comes in. Facebook is the same, Instagram is the same. So he's truly trying to create a truly Black owned. See, I've learned this too. I didn't know there was a difference between Black owned and Black targeted. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Like Black News Channel wasn't Black owned.
It wasn't, but it's Black targeted. But everybody kind of touted as if it was blackity black. Mm-hmm. No, Black Star Network is blackity black.
Okay.
So when I say I didn't know, and the reason why I didn't know, because it wasn't something that was in my space for me to know.
Yeah.
Right. So we knew when the Johnsons sold off BET, it was no longer Black owned, and didn't even think about Viacom keeping it Black targeted. So yeah, there's a whole lot that I'm learning in this digital space. So this is truly a Black owned company that is rolling with I remember him telling me, he said, I need you to wake up Black. I'm like, I do wake up Black. What does that mean? What do you mean? But after a while, coming from my background, which is in a predominantly white space in this industry, it was more so of give the topic of the recent bill. Which one was it? I call it the IRA Act. What did I call it? The Inflation Reduction Act is what it was. That's for everybody. Absolutely. So my job is to figure out how, even though it's for everybody, how does it affect the Black community?
Yeah.
That's what he means, like, think, wake up Black. First day he told me, I'm looking at him like, what the hell? Dude, do you see my face? I am Black. But it's the way we spin the stories.
Yeah.
And spin is the wrong word. The way we present the stories in a way that we as a Black community can understand what this means for me. How does it affect my family? And if there's something that needs to be done, how can I do that?
I love that. And I love that because you and I both have worked in for companies where we're presenting ideas and presenting stories and they get shot down. And so now this is an opportunity for you. Like, you're living every Black journalist dream. I think you get to come up with ideas that actually get greenlit instead of just like, now we'll pass.
Right.
We could tell so many stories. While we're on that topic, though, my last question to you is, what, if anything, would you change about our profession? It's probably not just one thing, but
there's more than
so many.
One of the things that I would absolutely change about my profession is the battle that people who look like us have to fight on a daily basis. Yep. And when I say that, I'm saying this from experience. Walking into a space where I am judged because I'm Black. Yeah. In a space where I have to be so sensitive in order not to make Karen feel uncomfortable.
Ooh, not Karen.
And I'm saying this because I'm getting there. So Karen doesn't feel uncomfortable that she's intimidated just by my mere presence before I even open my mouth. And then have to be so intentional about my words so I don't come across as the angry Black woman, the girl with the chip on her shoulder. And I'm telling you everything that I've been called. So that's one thing I would love to change in our industry, and to see more of us in leadership, in management roles, to reflect what is truly happening in the world, that where we can bring in these young journalists so they don't have to feel like they're fighting every day.
Yeah. I don't know that people realize, walking into an environment like that every single day, how that can take a toll on the strongest person, the strongest individual, like having to do that day in, day out. Like,
when did you start at CNNI? What year did you start at CNNI?
That's a good question. 20.
Was it 17, 16 or 17?
I left in 18, so it was maybe like 14, because I think that I was there for 4 years.
You worked on the evening shift, right?
Yeah, 12 to 8, 12 p to 8 p.
So you were there in 2016 when all those police shootings were happening.
Yep.
That was the day Carol showed her Black ass. It was the day. Yeah. It was just after Philando Castile.
Yep.
And that same week, I think there were 2 more police shootings that week.
Yep.
I remember because I had a friend of mine who taught at Oglethorpe come in. She's a wonderful lady. I had her coming in as a guest. And I told this story the other day. And this particular day, I was doing the 3 shows. And the last show, I was doing the show with Robin Curnow. And I think that's CNN. I forgot the name of that show. Whatever it was a 12 o'clock show.
Yeah.
And we had already been showing the police shootings. So the EP comes out. And she's, oh my God, we have breaking news. We need to drop a story. And they're like, what do you want to drop? And they drop the shooting story of the black man in the cup. And I walk in, I'm hearing all this. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, we have breaking news. We're dropping such and such story. Okay. I'm thinking it had to be a huge story, right?
Yeah.
What's the story? Angelina and Brad
No.
just filed for divorce.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I stood up and said, you got to be fucking kidding me. Because the newsroom is kind of quiet, and you remember where I was sitting on the back.
Yep.
I literally stood up and said, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I need a moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I walked out.
We've all
and
had
it just
one
so
of those
happened
moments.
My friend, right? I need a moment.
Yeah, we could talk about this all day.
Yes, we could. Because these folks.
But I love that you are now in a place and in a space where the ideas that you have, the stories that are important to you, you now get to put that out into the world because it's needed and we need to see those. I'm happy for you. I'm so happy for you. Now, before we go, I told you I wanted to do a quick little rapid fire with you.
Okay.
So just whatever is the first one that comes to your mind, just answer. Let me know what you think.
Once again, I'm going to say anything that comes out of my mouth, it's not a reflection of where I work.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I think this
blame
will be
my mom and my daddy.
I think this will be interesting.
Okay.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer.
Like Pepsi is gross.
It is. It's disgusting. And I'm from Texas, so I know it's it's terrible. Team Coke.
Y'all
all
Pepsi
the way.
drinkers, don't come for me. I ain't the one you want. Don't do that.
Bidwis or Uno?
Did you take that from my post I put
did.
the other day? So there's a story behind that we'll talk about when this is no longer recording.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I am not a good Bidwis player. I don't. My father would never teach me because he said it was a grown folks game.
Yep.
So
what's the
taking
answer?
away the context of which I put that out, I'm going to say Uno.
Okay.
But I do not go to the grown-up table trying to play Bidwis or Uno cards. I don't do that.
Okay, see, I thought you were going to say Bidwis because my next one is Bidwis or Spades.
Spades.
Okay. This is be an interesting one. Jodeci or New Edition?
New Edition.
I already knew the answer to that one.
New Edition.
You're gonna pick New Edition over my boys Jodeci in the desert with the leather?
No, New Edition.
I already know.
Look, folks, New Edition. This Roland has teased me about this. New Edition was the only group my father would allow me to buy their music.
Oh, okay.
Growing up.
And I also know you just got to meet all of them, which is amazing.
Yes. So I met Ronnie before. Weren't you with me when we met Ronnie at Playdate?
No.
Okay,
but
so I met
my
Ronnie.
First concert in Atlanta was you. It was Gerald Levert.
It was New Edition for my birthday, for my 30th birthday. Right. So I met Ronnie before at Playdate. And then, but to meet all of them at the same... Girl, and Ralph rolled around and came up, just looked at me, smiled, and gave me a hug. I was like, shit. Okay, keep playing. Come on, too.
I was convinced I was going to marry Ronnie DeVoe. I just want to put that out there.
Listen, I don't know why, looking back now, like why Ralph was my favorite. Like, I don't know.
Of course.
But yes, singer. New Edition all day, every day.
Fine.
You can't.
Fine.
Like,
warm or cold weather?
Cold.
What?
Without snow. No, without snow.
Okay.
So I like to be cold.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm very hot natured. I
saw some post about the weather, and I just figured, I know you're a Southern girl. I figured you would say warm, so I'm shocked that you actually said cold.
It's easier to warm up than it is to cool off.
Okay. This has a 3-part: Texas, Louisiana, or Georgia.
Damn. So that's interesting because I would have to say all 3.
Yeah.
Only because so many significant things happened to me in my life in all three places.
Okay.
Including, you should have put Alabama in there too, but that's a whole nother
I
story.
did see Alabama. I saw that on there. I did a little research on you, girl, but I picked those three. I know.
Yeah. So I would have to say, I'd have to say all three of them because they all contributed to who I am today.
Yeah. Okay. Crawfish or crab legs?
Neither.
Oh, what?
I don't eat them things.
Carol, you had a crawfish broil at your...
I cook anything. That don't mean I eat it.
How am I just realizing?
I don't know. You're absolutely right. The spring fling was always a crawfish broil. You're absolutely correct.
Yes, it was my first time ever having it. It was amazing. I was like, I did not suck the brains out of the head. I can't. I cannot do it. Once you told me those were brains, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
The only seafood that I eat or crustaceans or anything is fish. And I get talked about it all the time.
Oh my God, how did I not know you don't eat crawfish?
You don't know me at all.
I don't. You had a crawfish broil at your house. What?
Yeah, no, none of that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, last one. This is probably my favorite one.
Okay.
Saints or Cowboys?
You know it ain't them damn Cowboys. You already knew that, man.
I know your dad is a Cowboys fan, so
my dad. No. My mom is.
Oh,
my mom is.
Okay, I knew somebody.
My
I thought you said it was your father.
No, my father called them the Cowgirls. He could not stand.
Oh Lord,
could not stand. That was the first time I ever heard that. He cheered for anybody who they played against. My father did not like the Cowboys at all.
I already knew your answer to that one too. I just had to throw that one in there. I know
you know
were
damn
Saints
well
all day.
Wait, where's my Saints at? Oh wait, hold on. Let's see. Hold on.
Oh, you're gonna. Oh Lord, now you're gonna go grab it.
Hold on.
Perfect way to end the interview.
I know, right?
Carol, I want to thank you so much for being my very first interview on the Unmitigated Gall podcast. You are living an absolutely audacious life, and I just want you to know that I'm very proud of you. Thank you for taking me into your home when I was here in Atlanta. Otherwise, I would have ended up at the Darlington, and we know people don't make it out of there alive.
Listen, and I think you still owe me some rent money, but we're gonna let that go.
Okay, thanks again to Carol Gant for that great interview. I'm looking forward to more from Chivalry. That was great.
Thank you.
So, this has been a great show. Let's keep it going. And you want to do some quick recommendations and invitations?
Yes. So I basically just came up with both of mine literally right before we got on here. And so for my invitation...
The best kind.
Yes. I want to invite at the Joshua Dillard to the show. And that is the person who put together that video. I had already seen it before you sent it to me. Everyone has been circulating this video today, and it is literally the perfect example.
Oh, the Cake Daddy stuff? Oh, okay.
The what?
What's the Cake Daddy message.
What's Cake Daddy?
The Captain Save young lady. Captain Kirk. That one?
The one you just sent me, the black guy, who was literally speaking through black women.
Yes.
I co-signed everything he said 100%. If you look at the comments, so did everyone else. All of my friends were circulating that video today, and if you haven't seen it, at the Joshua Dillard is his name. Look it up. He has a video where he is talking about black women and why we are so tired, and he explains it beautifully. Maybe you can roll that beautiful bean footage here at the end, a little clip of it. I don't know, but I would love to invite him on the show and talk to him and have you talk to him.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great video where he basically expresses what black women feel in this moment, at this moment. So I'd love to talk to him.
Nice recommendation.
Thank you.
That was your invitation.
Invitation. Who's yours?
Omar Jimenez, you today sent me a video of him rapping, and his flow was decent. Some of the bars were questionable, though.
I loved his flow. I loved the whole thing. It was just a little snippet, but I thought it was great.
But I think it's great to see how his star is rising. He's a very talented brother. I produced some segments for him when I was with HLN. Great to work with, super sharp guy, multi-talented. So, yeah, but I do have some questions about those raps.
I know which line you're talking about.
No, that's invitations, recommendations. Shall I lead recommendations?
Yes, you go ahead.
All right.
You're not going to be happy with mine. I already know.
Oh, Lord. So my recommendation is don't buy a fixer-upper. I know the HGTV shows are cool. The after photos are great. But, my wife and I have done some renovations this year, and it has got me ready to punch somebody. I mean, scheduling out the window. Budget. Who needs it? Pain in the ass. Lots of it. So, and this is the second house I've owned, and you know what? That process, as long as it still is a lot shorter than renovating a house. So, I don't know. Maybe next time we'll just wait on the perfect house, because these renovations. No, I'm not done. It's like a man. It's like a perfect man, Valerie. Don't exist. So I guess it will be a fixer-upper in some form or fashion.
That's my recommendation. Fixer-upper, though.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, or was it a fixer-upper, or was it just you wanted to update it?
Yeah, some upgrades. I mean, it wasn't like...
I saw the bathroom. The bathroom looks amazing. The shower?
Well, the new one, yeah. So, I mean, that's the renovation, right? So we had, pretty basic. The flooring was bad. Everything else was pretty basic. So we took it up a notch. But anyway, was it worth the headache? I hope so. Time will tell.
Okay.
I'll let you know after about 10 showers.
All right. All right. So my recommendation is, you're just not going to like it, but I want to start off by saying really quickly, I don't believe in astrology. I think it's a bunch of BS. But I know that my astrological sign is Virgo, and today is Virgo season.
Oh, Virgo season.
So I'm going to recommend Beyonce's Virgo's Groove, because that song is on repeat right now. Like, I listen to it constantly. I was listening to it right before we came on. I am obsessed with that song. I love that song. I think it's beaten Break My Soul and Church Girl. But it just seemed perfect to mention it, because it's technically now Virgo seasons. Leo's step out of the way. Yeah, that's my recommendation. If you listen to the lyrics, it's such a good song. I love it. I love it.
Hey, if you happy, I'm happy.
Everyone always talks about their sign and which one's better, and I'm like, we have Beyonce, so I think we win.
That is not a fight I participated in. Y'all go crazy.
Me either. I don't believe in it. Do you?
Well, I mean, you just said you do.
I don't. I really don't. I don't ascribe to the fact that we can all be born at a certain time frame and have the same characteristics. Like, that makes zero sense. Zero.
I'm an Aquarius. Take it or leave it. I don't care.
I don't know what
I'm a great Aquarius. I know some trash Aquariuses.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
But anyway, I know what you should do. Like, subscribe, and follow.
There you go.
I didn't forget. Valerie, another great show under the belt.
Yep.
Peace, y'all. See y'all next Wednesday.
See ya.